Every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical, women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News. We do apologize for that hitch. Good evening, welcome to CoreTV News at 7. I am Gift Ogete. Former Borno State Governor Ali Modu Sheriff on Friday held a closed-door meeting with President Goodluck Jonathan. He later explained to State House correspondents that he was on a private visit. The former governor, however, admitted that he is on the verge of joining the People's Democratic Party and also spoke briefly on the security situation in northeast Nigeria.
Yes, there's this matter that I might join the PDP, but that was not the discussions that brought me to the president now.
That brings his question relevant.
Yes.
Why leave APC for PDP, and what are you bringing into?
People like us, who the nation have done everything that as an individual you want your nation to do for you, by the grace of God and the people of Nigeria have put me into that position. At every time, my interest should be how to move the nation forward. Need every one of us, every Nigerian, to put his head together to see what we can do to help this nation. Whatever that as a civilian will do will only contribute. My being a chief executive of the state for 8 years, what I have seen through my tenure, I will contribute to the security agencies through whom I got those information. And what you have to understand, the country is a big country. And Borno State is a different state from any other state in the nation.
Presidential spokesman Reuben Bati has disowned a statement credited to him on the whereabouts of the abducted Chibok girls. A release purportedly issued by the presidential spokesman had indicated that President Goodluck Jonathan has revealed the location of the abducted girls. It was also said to have exposed the masterminds of Boko Haram. Bati, however, denied issuing the release and blamed it on hackers who he says were bent on misleading the public at the expense of the credibility of the Jonathan administration. The Nigeria Medical Association warns the health authorities to reverse the decision to suspend residency training programs for striking doctors. It also demands unconditional reinstatement of resident doctors that have been handed sack letters. This was the outcome of an emergency meeting of NMA's national officers in Abuja.
This is the circular that forced the NMA to have an interface with the media on the ongoing doctor strike. And expectedly, its leaders are not impressed by a decision they say is targeted at breaking their ranks. Rising from an emergency meeting, NMA is demanding an immediate withdrawal of the suspension circular.
Consequently, it is hereby resolved as follows. 1. Nigerian Medical Association condemns in totality the alleged presidential directive via the Federal Ministry of Health suspending residency training program in Nigeria. Nigerian Medical Association demands immediate withdrawal of the suspension circular and unconditional reinstatement of the so-called SAG resident doctors. Government should show commitment on her part in resolving the current impasse with the Nigerian Medical Association. By all means, any attempt by government to break her ranks association will be resisted. Rather than abolishing residency training program, government should show more commitment towards improving the already poor funded program.
NMA insists that the decision to abolish residency training program is illegal. It also sent out a clear message to resident doctors.
In the light of the above, therefore, the Nigerian Medical Association hereby directs that no doctor should accept or collect any sack letter or sign any register opened by the government or her agents in the hospitals. For the avoidance of doubt, no medical doctor, no matter how hungry, should pick up any locum appointment with the government hospitals as directed by the circular. Any doctor who flouts this directive does so at his or her own peril.
The government had argued that the doctors' strike was not justifiable since it had met 90% of their demands. But the doctors have a different position.
And on the 24-point demand, government said yes, yes, yes. That does not mean implementation. And what has been said by the Honorable Minister that 90% have been met, it is absolutely false. When we expect that an agreement has been implemented is when the end result has been achieved.
The striking doctors said they have no intention to return to work until all their demands are met. They say government's decision to suspend residency training would only make a bad situation worse.
Nigeria has threatened to sanction any international media that attempts to run down the country over Ebola. Information Minister Labran Maku issued the threat while drawing attention to unfair reports in foreign media on the Ebola situation in Nigeria. Maku stated that contrary to the report, there is no Ebola case in Abuja.
There are two newspapers that I've seen. I haven't seen the report in other papers, who also report a very unfair story about Nigeria. The claim was that there were some 4 Indian doctors who were forced in Abuja, to treat Ebola cases. One, the names of the doctors were not announced. None of the newspapers carried the name of the doctors. None of them carried the name of the hospital where those doctors were allegedly forced to treat Ebola cases. None of those newspaper houses collaborated their story with the Minister of Health, the Nigerian health officials, or the Minister of Information. But this story was outlandishly published. But it is not now in this country and everywhere. There has not been any single Ebola case in Abuja.
The number of Nigerians placed under observation in Enugu over possible Ebola virus infection is down to 6. This was after 15 out of 21 people in quarantine were cleared. Health Minister Onyebuchi Chukwu disclosed this while giving a situation report at the news conference in Abuja. He also revealed that Nigeria's Ebola cases have increased to 11.
Until a few days ago, the Ebola virus was restricted to Lagos. But after one of the nurses that treated the index case traveled to Enugu, Government officials informed Nigerians that 21 people were in quarantine. Now, the health minister has come out to clarify the situation in Lagos and Enugu.
This morning, 169 persons are under surveillance in Lagos. The number is going down now because all the 169 now are secondary contacts. We have completed the 21 days maximum incubation period to observe primary contacts. So we have allowed those primary contacts who have not shown any sign of disease to be. And so all the 169 contacts presently in Lagos, as at this morning under contact, are all secondary contacts. In addition, we have 6 contacts in Enugu. As of yesterday, we were following on 21 of them. But after the very stringent and rigorous interview, we found out that 15 do not qualify as contacts.
He also revealed that the nurses may not have infected anybody aside from her husband.
You can only infect people when you have symptoms. So the fact that she went by public transport posed no danger to anybody. And she has spent days before she had the first symptom in Enugu. So she didn't infect anybody on her way to Enugu. I want to make that clear. When you don't have symptoms, you don't infect anybody. But on her return journey to Lagos, both of them traveled in special ambulances. So they did not have the opportunity also to contaminate anybody from Lagos to Enugu.
The health minister also gave Nigerians some hope by saying that only secondary contacts are under surveillance. But in spite of that, the government is not taking chances. It insists that there is still work to be done to ensure that Ebola virus doesn't take root in Nigeria.
Dangote Foundation has donated 150 million naira to stop the spread of Ebola virus disease in Nigeria. The managing director of the foundation, Dr. Adiambo Odaga, says the fund is meant for the establishment of an emergency center in Lagos.
After bilateral discussions with the Honorable Minister and his team, Dangote Foundation has funded the establishment of the Ebola Emergency Operations Center in Lagos. That is being done through a grant from the foundation of just a little over 150 million naira. The strategy that our chairman is deploying is a strategy to respond and to commend government for the effort and to show that all Nigerians are concerned. We're continuing to talk to the ministry about what additional support can be offered. And we also have been approached by several parties who are interested in partnering with government, and we will continue that discussion.
Nigeria Union of Pensioners has handed a 4-month ultimatum to the federal government over unpaid pension benefits and arrears. National President of the union, Ebele Afolayan, told CoreTV News that pensioners are also extending the ultimatum to state governments with arrears of unpaid pension. He maintained that pensioners would boycott the 2015 elections if the arrears are not paid before the end of the year.
We are with Mr. President. We support his transformation agenda, and we are wishing him well. But in return, we are saying all the state governors and Mr. President should pay all our entitlements, arrears of pension, gratuity, harmonization, death benefits to relatives of deceased pensioners between now and the end of the year if they want to actually deserve our vote.
The federal government is set to increase the supply of gas to power plants across the country to improve power supply. According to the Minister of Power, Chinedu Nebo, when this is done, it will boost investors' confidence in the sector. The minister, who represented Vice President Namadi Sambo at the inauguration of the National Council of Power, assured Nigerians of better days ahead. Pius Samuel has the report.
The idea to inaugurate the National Council on Power came up in 2008, but today it has come to reality. The council is saddled with the responsibility of coming up with workable plans that will enhance the participation of investors in the sector. To achieve this, the government has made provision for over 4 billion naira to boost power supply in the country.
Suffice it to say that within the shortest possible time, Nigeria has now been placed on the path of guaranteeing sustainable power supply. Against all odds and the myriad of problems which for decades had downplayed the sector, we are now poised to allow the power sector play its enabling role on the fulcrum of our country's march toward economic greatness and sustained social well-being.
Uninterrupted power supply is what will make the difference to Nigerians, no matter how much money is invested. But investors are keen on pumping more funds into the sector.
In the last few days, we have discussed and you've heard the transition of the national power project in Nigeria to the private sector intervention. Phase one of it was getting people involved in managing the access of PACN. And by investment of about $3.1 billion, as of November 1, these private sector people have put their stake in the Nigerian project of power. And second to that is the NIPP project of 10 new power plants, unprecedented anywhere else in the world, where government has built 10 power plants and have loaded it to the power sector. And the price tag is $5.8 billion US. And we're in the process of closing that transaction.
For now, we used to have campaigns where people go and campaign and say, we're going to provide roads, we're going to provide water, we're going to provide all other essentials, but never did we hear electricity. It was left for the president alone, and indeed the presidency, to always say, we'll work on electricity. Now with this council in place, I'm sure that we'll begin to hear that we can provide electricity, we'll provide electricity for our people, and with all hands on deck, I'm sure that the provision of electricity will be a thing of the past.
The key players in the power sector believe that there is no better time than now to light up Nigeria.
In the power sector, it has to be cooperative federalism in such a way that the center, represented by the very efficient and powerful Ministry of Power, giving the directions, are going to be cooperating fully with the state ministries and the state agencies involved in the power sector, so that there will be a national cooperative network of power production, power distribution, in such a way, as the minister said, by the grace of God, there will be light for the people of Nigeria.
As the power reforms continue to gather steam, Nigerians can only hope that there will be adequate gas supply that will translate to a 24-hour power supply. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The National Economic Council has directed the police authorities to dismantle all roadblocks mounted on highways for tax collection. This is one of the decisions taken at a meeting presided over by Vice President Namadi Sambo. Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano briefed journalists on the outcome of the council meeting.
The report of the Ministerial Implementation Committee on Harmonization of Taxes in Nigeria. This committee made the following findings, that some of the findings are as follows: that the 1998 Tax and Levies Act is overdue for review. There is duplication of some tax and levies at state and local government levels. Taxes and levies administered by some states are not backed by appropriate legislation. Their recommendations are as follows: discontinuation of the practice of using non-revenue officials for collection of taxes and levies at state and federal agencies. This is contrary to Section 2 of the Tax and Levies Act. All state revenue boards be empowered to automate the tax operations and for effectiveness, process accountability, and reduce leakages. The NEC to direct IG of police to dismantle all roadblocks mounted on highways for revenue collection.
Fire gutted the popular Tejosho market in the Yaba area of Lagos 7 years ago and left many traders and business entrepreneurs stranded as well as agonized. The pain and losses suffered at that time and the period after have finally paved way for a big relief to the traders as the state governor Babatunde Fashola commissions the new ultra-modern Tejosho market. Olajumoke Olatunji has more.
As work on the new Tejosho market reaches final stage, the first phase of the ultra-modern Tejosho market is now ready for business, with over 4,000 shop spaces, including lock-up and key clamp shops, offering investments and commercial opportunities for businesses.
We have purpose designed in this new market key clamps, and we have provided 1,251 instead of 533 that was in the old market. Of course, you now have banking spaces. You have 14 food court spaces. You have 8 lifts to enable goods and services to move up and people. You have 2 escalators to enable people go up and down the 4 flights without climbing very steep steps. You have 2 ramps designed to assist physically challenged people to get into and out of the building. And you have a creche where nursing mothers can attend and keep their children while they are training. Of course, we have also learned from the incident that caused the disaster, so there is a dedicated fire service station here to ensure, and there are fire fighting systems that have also been built into the market. While the old market was designed for a limited number of shops, as I said, unauthorized extensions were created in the area reserved for parking and other services. Now, you will now have a dedicated car park for about 800 vehicles. And so, my first hope is that there will be no illegal spaces and concessions created in this market again.
The Commissioner for Physical and Urban Development, Olutoyin Ayinde, says it is the desire of Lagos State government to meet the expectation of businessmen and women so as to redefine trade and investments in the state.
The new Tejosho shopping complex is a proof of the determination of Lagos State to stand out and not do things the way they have always been done in our nation. We have all around us the evidence of what happens to our public buildings when they are involved in mishaps, such as Inferno, like the one that affected the old Tejosho market. The Nitel and Defense Headquarters buildings are still fresh in our memory. So, in the midst of these examples, where others have failed, the Lagos State government chose to make a difference by departing from what used to be the habit and restoring the confidence of the weak and delivering a brand new complex.
The project manager, Obafemi Onoshide, says unfortunate fire incidents which burnt down the old Tejosho market necessitated innovation for a bigger, more sophisticated complex.
The projects, these Tejosho market elements, all started when the previous old market structure got burned down in December 18, 2007. And causing so much casualty and losses. The hitherto structure had so much challenges, and in fact, training in it was a nightmare.
In her remarks, the Geology General urged traders to maintain the market to total civility. The new market complex, rising from the ashes of the old traditional Tejosho market, is strategically located along the Ojuelegba-Itira Road in Yaba, with fascinating views of Surulere. The construction of the massive edifice has been on since 2008. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Really brand new Tejosho market. We take a break now. It's CoreTV News at 7. Stay with us.
This is Lagos.
by the spirits of Lagos.
Welcome you to From the Ivory Tower. And happenings around the country, varsity teachers get to air their views. Students are actually not left out. We bring you intellectual ends from the events happening around you. It is dedicated to educating the populace with a spice of entertainment.
From the Ivory Tower, Tuesdays, only on CoreTV News.
And that does it for us on CoreTV News at 7. Thank you so much for staying on with us. Join us again at 9:45 for primetime news. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gift Ogeta saying to have a wonderful day.